started.
Are you as ready as you can be for Monday?
Yeah, I mean we've prepared quite a bit for it over several months, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Ottawa's going to get a couple of good players from us, as I'm sure they will from other teams, but we felt like we did our best in trying to construct a scenario for us that gives us the ability to stay competitive right going forward.
Who do you anticipate them taking?
Couldn't tell you. Not in their war room. Don't know. We went through some mock lists and drafts, but you just don't know until you get to that day, right? Everybody evaluates a little bit differently. Obviously, the guys on the inside of an individual team probably have a little bit different evaluations than if you're looking from the outside in. So they might be the same, but they might be completely different, right?
I know you're probably not going to give us the lists of the players that you protected, but
did they not hand that out to you guys?
could you tell us a little bit about what maybe the philosophy was and how you approached it? Can you give us some sort of sense of direction on how you looked at it?
That is a great question to bring a tighter focus to try to understand our list. Yeah, probably not going to talk about that. Yeah, too much. We'll just let it go and see what happens on Monday.
Is it a difficult process?
Yeah, it was very difficult. We have, I think, a strong Canadian content, on this football team, and we're going to be pretty disappointed, to lose a couple of our players. We understand why, and we get it, but Ottawa's going to get a couple of really good players from us.
Is the Canadian part of it the most difficult part of it, given how hard it is to find quality Canadians at this point?
Well, I think I was fortunate to come into a situation where we had strong Canadian content. I mean, this organization did a great job in finding good quality football players, on the Canadian side, and it's a difficult process because there's potential ripple effect, right? Depending upon who they select, and what we're trying to do is eliminate some of those wrinkles, right? Some of those extra concentric circles as the pebbles hit the water. That's not a perfect science, and you have to try to project as best you can and try to anticipate, but we're trying to limit the damage as much as possible.
Do you anticipate losing any starters or a starter?
I can't comment on that. We'll just have to wait and see.
Has it been difficult to you had to submit your list on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as coaches, you prepare for things and then you're able to sort of execute a game plan and go out there and do it. Right now, you submitted your list and now you basically have to sit here and wait to find out who you lose. It's an unusual situation, I think. Has that part of it been difficult, sort of just the waiting for it? The fact that there's nothing you can do about it?
Well, I mean, we tried to take a proactive step and potential move, which we thought was a pretty creative approach that we presented to the league, and they turned it down based on logic I can't understand. But so we tried to be proactive in one respect, in how we approach this with Ottawa. And right now, I would imagine that they would probably, since they have both who's protected and who's not protected, you would think that maybe there are potential moves that they would make, right, to try to strengthen who they pick or who they don't pick. But we've not heard anything from them at this point.
Are you suggesting maybe they have an unfair advantage right now?
No, I don't think it's unfair. I think it's just the way that it is, right? Listen, we're glad that Ottawa's back in the league. We understand that. We're going to be disappointed, to lose players, but we understand that it's, for the league, this is a good thing, and Ottawa needs to have an opportunity to be competitive, as early as possible, right? That's a good thing. We get that. We just don't want that to hurt our competitiveness, right? And that's the challenge when you're trying to piece this together.
For fans who are going to be observing this draft on Monday, who may be under the assumption that Ottawa is going to pick this super squad out of getting the best out of every team, is that even possible? Really, when you think that they're picking players from
It depends
each
on
team?
depends on the quality of the content of each team, right? I think some teams' content is stronger than other teams, which is true for any league. So it just depends on how that plays out, right? They're going to get some good players. Just the way that the draft's structured, they're gonna be able to get some good football players.
But the fact that they're putting all of these players who haven't played, we're guessing for the most part, haven't played together before, all new coaching staff, they still got the cards stacked against them, don't they?
We had a lot of new football players that hadn't played together, and a brand new coaching staff. I mean, I don't necessarily buy that. Yeah.
Did you tell the players that you had protected them? Did they know?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Well, it wouldn't make any sense to do that. Potentially, just brings up a bunch of issues that we'd have to address. That may or may not even be a factor, right? At the end of the day, when the draft's over, so it's just chasing things that don't need to be chased.
So the players are going to find out when you find out, when the rest of us find out, when the draft lists come out that they've been picked. Yeah.
Yep.
Anybody ask you about it? Any of the players ask or stress any kind of, gee, I would really like to be protected, or gee, I'd really like to stay here next year?
Well,
thing?
I mean, we've had some of that, but I think our players understand that our group, our staff, the personnel guys and the coaches, our hearts are in the right place. We're trying to do what we feel like is best for the football team, and I think every other team in this league approached it that way. Right? There's good guys in this league, and they're gonna make decisions that they feel like is best for the team. Not every player that goes through this across the league is going to agree with that. When the dust settles and the picks are made.
Was that protection item available to put in a contract?
I'm sorry?
Was that an item that a player could put in a contract, that they had to be protected?
To put in a contract,
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
In terms of signing, this past off season, could they put that item in their contract saying,
But we didn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that would be accepted by the league.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a player on your team you would pick?
Yeah, there's several. Yeah, we like our players, but I'm not them, right? They have to they got to piece the entire puzzle together, right? So it's not just this is a great player. It might be a mix of guys that give them a more competitive squad from the beginning. So again, if you're not in those strategy meetings, you don't really. You can anticipate, but you don't really know what they're thinking at this point.
And basically, we're talking 3 players off each team, so it's not going to drastically change any team, really.
Well, you could lose a quarterback.
Right.
Yeah. So it depends on those guys, right? I mean, and it depends too that if you. I believe that we're in an okay position, although we're going to be disappointed that we have depth to our content, right? And if you don't have as much depth, then depending upon what your strategy was, it may hurt you more.
Just a couple quick questions about going into the off season and kind of the season wrapping. And if you had a Christmas list or a wish list for your team in this off season, what would you wish for? And having gone through a season where you had so many health problems and injuries and of that nature, would that kind of be maybe top of your list for the upcoming season?
If I could sprinkle fairy dust on our guys and keep them healthy for for the off season for the year, that would be outstanding. We look at every single area and trying to get the team to be better. Off-season conditioning and strength training and those types of things are being looked at and planned and have been looked at during the season with the strength conditioning coach, our coaches, and but the wish list is always going to be big because you're never going to be satisfied with where you're at, right? We need to improve. I understand that, and we're not going to stay status quo.
Are you still thinking about watching Grey Cup, or has it been put to bed?
No, I've watched it, several times. And still this disappointment's still there. It's funny, we're talking with the coaches. I mean, when it's all said and done, we ended up feeling like all the other 7 teams. That just came later for us, So there really is only one goal, and that's to be the best and win the championship. And we ended up feeling like every other team at the end of that game. Good news is we had a great run. They're really proud of our men, really proud of them and what they accomplished and what they've overcome, what they overcame this year. But it doesn't take away the sting of the loss, right?
I know you never used anything as an excuse, whether the traveling to Guelph, the traveling to the practice venue, the fact that you did have so many new players on this team. But do you look back and say, you know what, we can be proud of the fact that we overcame all of those and they were obstacles that other teams didn't have to overcome?
I think we can be very proud of all the above, right? And it's a real credit to our coaching staff and more importantly to the players. I mean, I've said that, and we believe that here, for the job that they did and keeping the guys focused and building a team, a team that can compete week in and week out and make the run that we did, to have a chance to win the championship. I thought was an outstanding job by these guys and by the coaches and by the players, turning what could have been negatives into real positives and not letting those distractions affect their play and affect their development and affect their competitiveness.